In Objective 13, we're going to divide the abdominal pelvic cavity up into regions or quadrants. As the names tell you, quadrants, there are 4 of those, and regions, the name doesn't tell you, but I'm going to tell you right now, there are 9 of those. So we're going to be looking at the 4 abdominal pelvic quadrants and the 9 abdominal pelvic regions. In each case, whether we're looking at abdominal pelvic quadrants or abdominal pelvic regions, the dividing lines are centered on the umbilicus, also called umbilicus or belly button. So that's going to form the center of our organization. The 4 abdominal pelvic quadrants. We have upper and lower and right and left. So we have a right upper quadrant, abbreviated RUQ, a left upper quadrant, abbreviated LUQ, a right lower quadrant, abbreviated RLQ, and a left lower quadrant, abbreviated LLQ. Once again, notice that right and left are defined with respect to the patient, not with respect to the observer, not with respect to you and me. So what's on the right-hand side of the patient is on the left-hand side of this diagram. The 9 abdominal pelvic regions are centered on the umbilicus or the belly button or the abdominal chakra in the Hindu religion. So we're centered on the umbilical region or the umbilical region. The names seem a little strange at first, but once we break them down, they make a little bit more sense. Again, we have right and left, but we have in the superior tier, the superior row, hypochondriac. Oh, that seems odd because what does this have to do with people that make up fictitious illnesses? Well, in this case, hypochondriac refers to underneath, hypo. Chondro is referring to cartilage, and the cartilage that we're looking at is the cartilage of the ribs. So this is underneath the rib cartilage. So it's the right hypochondriac region and the left hypochondriac region underneath the ribs on the right and the left side respectively. In the center, we have superiorly the epigastric region. Epigastric means on top of the stomach, and that's where the epigastric region is found, is that region on top of the stomach. Now in the middle row, we've already covered the umbilical or umbilical region. We have a right and a left lumbar region. You may have noticed earlier when we were talking about directional terms and regions of the human body, and we were talking about regional terms, we used lumbar to refer to the lower back. Or you may know that if you have a good chair, it has good lumbar support, or that there are cars that are sold with seats that have good lumbar support. And so you already know that lumbar refers to the lower back. So the right lumbar region is in the right lower back region, and the left lumbar region is in the left lower back region. Then in the bottom or the inferior row are inguinal regions. Inguinal refers to the groin. You may know of somebody who had an inguinal hernia, and so their hernia was in this location. It's also called the iliac region. Iliac is a Latin word that means flank. And so we have the right inguinal or iliac region, the left inguinal or iliac region, and then in the center, along the midline, but inferiorly in the abdominal pelvic cavity, we have the hypogastric region, means underneath the stomach, and this is well and truly underneath the stomach, all right, which is why some people would call it the pubic region. It's your responsibility to take some of the major organs that we covered in Objective 12 and to understand their relationship to the abdominal pelvic quadrants. So you should know that the liver is found primarily, not exclusively, in the right upper quadrant. The spleen and the left kidney are found in the left upper quadrant. The cecum, part of the large intestine, and the appendix, another part of the large intestine, found in the right lower quadrant. That means when you have pain from appendicitis, you have pain typically in the right lower quadrant. And the left lower quadrant is where the left ovary would be found. Of course, this is a male. Those of you who are astute will have noticed already that this drawing has male primary sexual characteristics. And so we don't find the left ovary in this male, but if we were looking at a diagram of the female, then the left ovary would be found in the left lower quadrant.